The guards tried to stop her at the door, but Olivia Norwood pushed past them anyway because nothing in this world or the next mattered except getting to her daughter. She did not care that the hallway was dark, that the hospital floor had been evacuated 2 hours ago, that every instinct she possessed screamed at her to run in the opposite direction. Cecily was dying. That was the only fact that counted. The doctors had stopped trying to explain it after the second day. They had used words like sepsis and organ failure and incompatible with life, but none of those words changed the truth, which was that her 7-year-old daughter had been bitten by something in the park 4 nights ago, and now she was dying and no one could tell Olivia why. The room at the end of the corridor was the one they had moved Cecily to yesterday, the private room with the locks on the door and the windows that did not open. Olivia had not been allowed inside since this morning. A woman in a dark suit had arrived with paperwork that made no sense, documents about contamination and quarantine and legal custody that Olivia had refused to sign. Then the woman had left and the guards had appeared and Olivia had been escorted to the waiting room and told to stay there. She had lasted 6 hours before she stopped caring about rules. The door to Cecily's room was open. The lights were off. Olivia's heart was beating so hard she could feel it in her teeth, but she walked through the door anyway because her daughter was in there and that was all that mattered. The man standing beside Cecily's bed turned to look at her and Olivia forgot how to breathe. He was tall, taller than anyone she had ever seen, dressed in black that looked like it cost more than her car. His hair was white, not silver or platinum, but white like fresh snow, falling past his shoulders in a way that should have looked soft but instead looked like something sharp and deadly. His skin was pale enough that she could see the blue tracery of veins at his temples, at his wrists where his sleeves were rolled back. His eyes were the color of old ice, pale gray blue and utterly cold. He looked at her the way someone might look at a stray dog that had wandered into a cathedral. Olivia did not care. She crossed the room in 4 strides and put herself between him and her daughter's bed. "Get away from her." "No." His voice was quiet, low, and absolutely certain. He did not move. "I said get away from her." Olivia's hands were shaking. She had not slept in 4 days. She had not eaten in 2. She was wearing the same clothes she had been wearing when the hospital called, jeans with a hole in the knee and a t-shirt that smelled like sweat and terror. She was barely 5'4", and this man looked like he could break her in half without effort. None of that mattered. "Whatever you are, whatever you want, you're not touching her." "I have already touched her." He tilted his head slightly, studying Olivia with those pale, cold eyes. "I have been here since sunset. I needed to see what was done to her." Olivia's throat closed. She forced the words out anyway. "You're one of them. You're what bit her." "No." For the first time, something shifted in his expression. Not anger, but something colder and more final than anger. "The creature who bit your daughter was young and stupid and has been removed from this city. He will not trouble you again." Removed. Olivia heard herself laugh, a sound like breaking glass. "He's what's killing her. He's why she's dying. And you're telling me he's been removed?" "Yes, that doesn't help her." Olivia's voice cracked. She did not care. She turned and looked at Cecily, her little girl lying so still in the hospital bed, her skin gray and her breathing shallow. The bite mark on her shoulder had turned black, spreading like poison beneath her skin. "She's 7 years old. She was playing in the park. She didn't do anything wrong. And now she's dying and no one will tell me why, and you're just standing there like it doesn't matter." "It matters." The man's voice was still quiet, but something in it made Olivia turn back to look at him. "It matters more than you understand. Then fix it." Olivia was crying now, tears running hot down her face. She did not bother to wipe them away. "You're one of them. You can fix this. Please. I'll do anything. I'll give you anything you want. Money, blood, I don't care. Just save her. Please?" The man was silent for a long moment. Then he said, very carefully, "What your daughter is experiencing is called a failed turning. The creature who bit her was too young to complete the conversion and too reckless to understand the consequences. Her body is trying to change and cannot. Without intervention, she will die before dawn." Olivia's knees buckled. She grabbed the edge of Cecily's bed to keep from falling, then intervened. "Please. I'm begging you. There is only one intervention that will save her life." The man moved then, stepping closer, and Olivia realized for the first time how completely still he had been before. He moved like water, like something that had never been human. Royal blood, given freely to kin, can stabilize a failed turning and allow the body to choose. She will live, she will remain human, but she will carry the seed of the change within her until she reaches majority, at which point she must choose whether to complete it or let it die. Olivia did not understand half of what he was saying, but she did not care. "You can save her." "Yes, then do it, please." Olivia reached out without thinking and grabbed his hand. His skin was cold, cold enough that it shocked her, but she did not let go. "I'll give you anything. Take me instead, all of me, my life, my blood, whatever you need. Just heal my daughter, please." The man looked down at her hand on his. When he spoke, his voice was softer than before, though no warmer. You would trade your life for hers? Yes, in a heartbeat, without question. Olivia tightened her grip. She's a child. She has her whole life ahead of her. I'm no one. I'm nothing. Just take me and let her live. You are not nothing. The man turned his hand over, his fingers closing around hers, and Olivia realized that his hand was larger than hers by half. You are her mother. That is not nothing. Then as her mother, I'm begging you, save her. I'll do anything. The man was quiet for another long moment. Then he said, I refuse your trade. Olivia's world tilted. What? I will not take your life in exchange for hers. That is not the price I require. He released her hand and stepped back. However, I will marry you. Olivia stared at him. What? Royal blood cures a failing turning only when given freely to kin. Marriage under the old laws creates kinship between bloodlines. If you marry me, your daughter becomes kin to my house. I may then heal her within the bounds of the law. He said it the way someone might discuss a business transaction, calm and certain. The ceremony can be performed immediately. The healing will follow. Your daughter will live. You want to marry me? Olivia heard the words come out of her mouth, but they did not make sense. You don't even know my name, Olivia Norwood. 29 years old, works 3 jobs to support her daughter. Divorced from Jonathan Norwood 2 years ago. Lives in the apartment on 5th and Maple above the dry cleaner. Your daughter is Cecily Ann Norwood, age 7, 2nd grade, allergic to strawberries. He recited the facts like he was reading from a file. I know everything I need to know. Who are you? Olivia whispered. Petronius Thorne, king of the northern bloodline, sovereign of the Night Court. I have held this city for 300 years. He inclined his head slightly, a gesture that might have been a bow if it had gone any deeper. Your daughter was bitten by my nephew. That makes her suffering my responsibility. I will not allow her to die for his mistake. Olivia's mind was spinning. Your nephew? Yes. He's the one who bit her. Yes. And you're going to marry me so you can heal her. Yes, and then what? Olivia's voice was rising again. What happens after that? Do I just go home? Do you disappear? Do I wake up and find out this was all a nightmare? You will come to live in my household. You will be my queen in name and law. Your daughter will be raised as a princess of the blood. You will want for nothing. Petronius's expression did not change. In time, when you are ready, you may choose to turn. Or you may choose to remain human and live out your natural span. The choice will be yours. I will not force it. And if I say no, then your daughter dies before sunrise, and I will have failed in my duty to protect this city's innocent. Petronius's eyes were still cold, but there was something beneath the cold now, something that might have been anger or might have been pain. I would prefer not to fail. Olivia looked at Cecily, her little girl so small and still in the hospital bed, her baby, the only good thing Olivia had ever done with her life. She turned back to Petronius. If I say yes, you swear she'll live. I swear it on my blood and my throne, and she stays human. Until she is old enough to choose otherwise, yes, the seed of the change will remain dormant within her. At 18, she may complete the turning if she wishes, or reject it and remain human. It will be her choice, and hers alone, and you won't hurt her or me. I will protect you both with everything I am and everything I command. Petronius held out his hand, palm up. You have my word, Olivia Norwood. Marry me and your daughter lives. Refuse and I can do nothing. Olivia looked at his hand. She thought about Cecily's laugh, the way she still insisted on goodnight kisses, the picture she had drawn last week of the two of them holding hands under a rainbow. She thought about the life her daughter deserved to have, the birthdays and the graduations and the first love and all the beautiful ordinary things that every child should get to experience. She put her hand in his. Yes, I'll marry you. Petronius's fingers closed around hers, gentle despite their strength. Then let us begin. The ceremony was not what Olivia expected. There was no priest, no church, no witnesses except the guards outside the door. Petronius drew a knife from his belt, a thin blade that gleamed silver in the darkness, and cut his palm without hesitation. Blood welled up, dark and red and too thick to be human. He held out his hand. Your hand, Olivia. She gave it to him. The cut was quick, a sharp sting across her palm, and then Petronius was pressing their hands together, his blood mixing with hers. By blood and bone, by breath and will, I bind myself to you. His voice was low and steady. Your line to mine, your kin to my house, your life to my protection. In the eyes of the old laws in the Night Court, you are mine and I am yours. This I swear until the world ends or we are dust. Olivia felt something shift, something deep and fundamental, like the world tilting on its axis. Heat spread from her palm up her arm, not painful but intense. And for a moment she could feel him, feel the weight of his presence like a mountain at her back. Then it faded and Petronius released her hand. The cut on her palm was already healing, closing over as she watched. It is done, he said quietly. You are my queen, your daughter is my kin. He turned to Cecily's bed. For the first time his expression softened just slightly. He reached out and laid his hand over the bite mark on her shoulder, and Olivia saw his blood well up again, seeping into the blackened wound. Cecily gasped. Her eyes flew open. For a terrible moment Olivia thought something had gone wrong, but then the black veins beneath her daughter's skin began to recede, pulling back like shadows fleeing the light. The gray pallor of her skin faded, color rushing back into her cheeks. Cecily blinked up at Petronius. "You're really tall," she whispered. Petronius's mouth twitched. Just barely, it might have been a smile. "Yes, are you a vampire? Yes, did you fix me?" "Yes." Cecily considered this, then she looked past him and saw Olivia. "Mom?" Olivia was crying again, but this time it was relief, pure and overwhelming. She pushed past Petronius and gathered Cecily into her arms, holding her daughter close enough to feel her heartbeat strong and steady. "I'm here, baby. I'm right here." "I feel better," Cecily said into Olivia's shoulder. "I don't hurt anymore. I know. It's okay. Everything's going to be okay." Olivia kissed the top of her head, breathing in the smell of her shampoo and sweat and hospital soap. "I promise." Petronius stepped back, giving them space. When Olivia finally looked up at him, he inclined his head. "The healing is complete. The failed turning has been stabilized. She will need rest, but she will recover fully." "Thank you." Olivia's voice broke on the words. "Thank you so much. You owe me no thanks. This was my duty and my choice." Petronius moved toward the door, then paused. "I will return at sunset tomorrow to escort you both to the estate. Bring what you need for the next few days. The rest can be retrieved later. Wait." Olivia did not want to let go of Cecily, but she shifted so she could see Petronius properly. "That's it? You just leave?" "The sun will rise in 2 hours. I must return before then." He glanced back at her. "You are safe here for now. The guards outside are mine. They will protect you until I return, but I don't understand. What just happened? What am I supposed to tell the doctors? What do I tell Cecily?" Olivia felt panic rising again, different from before but just as overwhelming. Petronius was quiet for a moment. Then he crossed the room again, moving to stand beside the bed. He looked down at Cecily, who was watching him with wide, curious eyes. "You were bitten by a vampire who did not know what he was doing," Petronius said, speaking directly to Cecily. "The bite made you very sick. I healed you because it was my responsibility to do so. You will live, you will grow up, you will be healthy and strong. But there is something inside you now, something that will sleep until you are grown. When you turn 18, you will have to make a choice about whether to wake it or let it fade. Do you understand?" Cecily frowned. "What kind of something?" "The possibility of becoming what I am, a vampire." Petronius did not talk down to her, did not soften the words. "It will not happen unless you choose it. But the choice will be yours to make when the time comes. Will it hurt?" "No, not while it sleeps. And if you choose to wake it, I will make sure you are prepared and protected." Cecily looked at Olivia. "Is that okay, Mom?" Olivia swallowed hard. "Yes, baby, it's okay. We'll figure it out together when the time comes. Okay." Cecily looked back at Petronius. "Thank you for fixing me." Petronius inclined his head. "You are welcome, Cecily." He looked at Olivia again. "The doctors will find that her condition has improved dramatically. They will run tests and find nothing wrong. Let them. Answer their questions as simply as possible. Do not mention me or what happened here. They will discharge her within a day or two. I will return tomorrow at sunset. And then what?" "Then you come home," Petronius said quietly. "Both of you." He left before Olivia could ask anything else. The door closed behind him with a soft click, and then she was alone with Cecily and the monitors beeping steadily and the impossible reality of what had just happened. Cecily tugged on her sleeve. "Mom, are you okay?" Olivia looked down at her daughter, her miracle, her impossible second chance. "Yeah, baby, I'm okay. We're both okay." She held Cecily close and tried to believe it. The doctors were baffled. They ran every test they could think of and found nothing wrong. Cecily's blood work came back clean. The infection was gone. The bite mark on her shoulder had faded to a thin white scar that the doctors said looked months old, not days. They kept her for observation, watching for signs of relapse. But Cecily was bright and alert and asking for pancakes by lunchtime. Olivia sat beside her bed and tried to figure out what she was supposed to do next. She had married a vampire king. That was the fact that kept circling her mind, impossible and undeniable. She had married him to save Cecily's life, and it had worked, and now she was apparently a queen, and her daughter was a princess, and none of it made any sense. Except it did, in a terrible, logical way. Cecily was alive. That was what mattered. Everything else was just details. Olivia called her boss and quit 2 of her jobs. She called her landlord and said she would be out by the end of the month. She called her ex-husband and told him Cecily was fine, and no, he could not visit because he had not bothered to visit once in the 4 days she was dying, so he had lost that right. Then she sat down and tried to explain to her 7-year-old daughter that they were moving in with a vampire king. "Is he nice?" Cecily asked, sitting cross-legged on the hospital bed with a coloring book in her lap. "I don't know," Olivia admitted. "I only met him last night. He seemed nice. He talked to me like I was a real person, not a little kid. I noticed that, and he fixed me when I was sick." "Yes, he did." Cecily colored in a flower with careful precision. "Are you married to him now?" "Yes." "Does that mean he's my stepdad?" Olivia had not thought about it that way. I guess it does in a way, okay. Cecily did not seem upset by this. Is he going to live with us? We're going to live with him, actually. In his house? Is it a big house? I think so. Will I have my own room? I'm sure you will. Cecily thought about this for a moment. Okay. Can I bring my stuffed animals? Olivia felt something loosen in her chest, some tight knot of fear that had been sitting there since last night. Yes, baby. You can bring whatever you want, then I think it'll be okay. Cecily looked up at her and smiled, the same bright, trusting smile she had been giving Olivia since she was old enough to smile. As long as we're together, it'll be okay. Olivia pulled her daughter close and hoped desperately that she was right. Petronius returned exactly at sunset the next day. Olivia was waiting in Cecily's hospital room with 2 duffel bags of clothes and a trash bag full of stuffed animals. Cecily had been discharged an hour ago, pronounced healthy and cleared to go home. The doctors still did not understand what had happened, but they were too relieved to ask many questions. Petronius knocked once, then entered. He was dressed in dark gray today, a suit that probably cost more than Olivia made in 6 months. His white hair pulled back in a way that showed the sharp lines of his face. He looked at Cecily first, his pale eyes scanning her carefully. How do you feel? Good, the doctors gave me pancakes. Cecily was sitting on the edge of the bed, swinging her legs. Are we going to your house now? Yes, if you are ready, I'm ready. Mom packed all my stuff. Petronius turned to Olivia. Is this everything? For now. I have more at the apartment, but I wasn't sure what we'd need. We will send someone to retrieve the rest tomorrow. Petronius picked up the 2 duffel bags like they weighed nothing. The car is waiting outside. The car turned out to be a black sedan with windows tinted so dark Olivia could not see through them. A driver in a dark suit held the door open. Olivia climbed in first, then helped Cecily. Then Petronius folded himself into the seat beside her. The interior of the car was leather and silence. Cecily pressed her nose to the window, watching the city slide past. Olivia watched Petronius trying to reconcile this strange formal man with the one who had cut his palm open and called her his queen. Where are we going? She asked finally. The estate is north of the city, 40 minutes by car. Petronius did not look at her. He was watching Cecily, his expression unreadable. It has been in my family for 200 years. The upper floors are designed to accommodate humans. You will both have your own rooms, though I expect Cecily may prefer to stay with you for the first few nights. Yes, Olivia said quietly. Probably there are staff. They are all aware of your arrival and have been instructed to assist you in any way you require. He paused. You will be safe there. I swear it. I believe you. Olivia did not know why she said it, but it was true. She did believe him, which was insane considering she had known him for less than 24 hours. Petronius finally looked at her. You are handling this better than I anticipated. What else am I supposed to do? Fall apart? Olivia shrugged. Cecily's alive. That's all that matters. Everything else, I'll figure out as I go. You are stronger than you think. I'm a single mother who works 3 jobs. I'm used to figuring things out. Something shifted in Petronius's expression, too quick for Olivia to catch. 2 jobs now. What? You quit 2 of them. You work at the bookstore on 5th Street now. He tilted his head. You will not need to continue working if you do not wish to. You are my queen. You will have access to my resources. I like working at the bookstore, Olivia said carefully. I'd like to keep that job if that's allowed. You do not need my permission. You are not my prisoner. Then what am I? Petronius was quiet for a long moment. My wife, my queen, the mother of my kin, a woman under my protection. He looked away again, back to Cecily. What you are not is my prisoner or my property. You are free to live your life as you choose within the bounds of safety. Olivia did not know what to say to that. She looked at Cecily instead, at her daughter who was alive and healthy and completely oblivious to the strangeness of this situation. The estate was not what Olivia expected. She had pictured something gothic and forbidding, all stone and shadows. Instead, it was a sprawling mansion set in the middle of acres of forest, elegant and old-fashioned but not dark. The windows were large, the gardens beautifully kept. It looked like somewhere a person might actually want to live. Petronius led them inside. The entrance hall was 2 stories tall, with a staircase that curved up to the 2nd floor. A woman in a dark dress was waiting for them, her hair pulled back in a neat bun. This is Helena, Petronius said. She manages the household. If you need anything, ask her. Helena inclined her head. Welcome, my lady, Miss Cecily. I have prepared rooms for you both on the east wing, if you will follow me. Olivia looked at Petronius. He nodded. Go, rest. I will join you for dinner if you wish. Okay, Olivia said, because she did not know what else to say. Helena led them upstairs and down a hallway lined with paintings. She opened a door to reveal a suite of rooms that was larger than Olivia's entire apartment. There was a bedroom with a massive 4-poster bed, a sitting room with a fireplace, and a bathroom with a tub big enough to swim in. Miss Cecily's room is through here, Helena said, opening a connecting door. Cecily's room was smaller but just as beautiful. with a bed shaped like a sleigh and a window seat overlooking the gardens. Cecily's eyes went wide. "This is all for me?" "Yes, miss." Helena smiled, the first real warmth Olivia had seen from her. "Do you like it?" "It's the best room ever." Cecily ran to the window seat and climbed up, pressing her hands to the glass. "Mom, look, there are trees everywhere." Olivia looked. She could see the forest stretching out in every direction, dark and deep. It should have been frightening. Instead, it felt safe, like they were hidden away from the world. Helena left them to settle in. Olivia unpacked their clothes while Cecily explored every corner of her new room. By the time dinner was announced, Cecily had arranged all her stuffed animals on the bed in order of size and claimed the window seat as her reading spot. Dinner was served in a smaller dining room, not the formal one Olivia had glimpsed downstairs. Petronius was already there, standing by the window with a glass of something dark in his hand. He turned when they entered. "Cecily, Olivia." He inclined his head. "Please sit." The table was set for two. Olivia realized that Petronius would not be eating with them. He saw her notice and said, "I do not eat human food. I will keep you company if that is acceptable." "You don't have to," Olivia said. "I wish to." He pulled out a chair for Cecily, then one for Olivia, and sat down at the head of the table with his glass. Dinner was roast chicken and vegetables, simple but perfectly cooked. Cecily ate with enthusiasm. Olivia pushed food around her plate and tried not to feel awkward. "Tomorrow I will need to introduce you to the court," Petronius said eventually. "It is a formality but a necessary one. They must see that you are my queen and that Cecily is under my protection." Olivia set down her fork. "What does that mean exactly?" "It means you will meet the members of my bloodline and the allied bloodlines that share this territory. You will be presented as my wife and queen. They will acknowledge you, and in doing so, they will acknowledge their duty to protect you both." He paused. "It will not be pleasant. Many of them will not approve of my choice to marry a human, but they will obey because I am their king and my word is law." "Are they going to be mean to my mom?" Cecily asked, looking up from her plate. Petronius looked at her steadily. "Some of them may be rude. If they are, I will deal with it." "How firmly?" Cecily considered this. "Okay, but if anyone's mean to my mom, I'm going to tell them they're being jerks." Petronius's mouth twitched again, that almost smile. "That is your right." Olivia felt a surge of affection for her brave, ridiculous daughter. "Cecily, maybe let Petronius handle it, but I can help." "You can help by being polite and staying close to me," Olivia said. "Okay?" Cecily agreed reluctantly. After dinner, Helena came to take Cecily for a bath. Olivia stayed in the dining room with Petronius, suddenly aware that they were alone for the first time since the hospital. "You did not eat," Petronius observed. "I'm not very hungry. You are afraid." "It was not a question." Olivia sighed. "Wouldn't you be?" "Yes." Petronius set down his glass. "You have been thrust into a world you do not understand, married to a man you do not know, required to navigate a court that will see you as an outsider at best. You are right to be afraid." "That's not exactly comforting. I do not wish to comfort you with lies." Petronius leaned back in his chair, studying her. "I wish to tell you the truth so that you can make informed choices. The truth is that the court will be difficult. Some will see you as a weakness, something to exploit. Others will see you as an insult, a human elevated above them. A few will be genuinely curious or even welcoming, but they will be the minority. So what am I supposed to do? Stand beside me. Let them see that you are not afraid of them. Let them see that I have chosen you and that I will not tolerate any threat to you or your daughter." Petronius's eyes were steady on hers. "You are stronger than they expect. Let them underestimate you. It will be to your advantage." Olivia laughed, a short, bitter sound. "I'm a bookstore clerk from the South Side. I don't know anything about vampire politics or court intrigue or any of this. Then you will learn. I will teach you." Petronius stood and crossed to her side of the table. He held out his hand. "Come, there is something I wish to show you." Olivia hesitated, then took his hand. His skin was still cold, but she was getting used to it. He led her out of the dining room and down a series of hallways, deeper into the house. Finally, he opened a door to reveal a library that took Olivia's breath away. The room was 2 stories tall, lined floor to ceiling with books. There were ladders on rolling tracks, comfortable chairs by the fireplace, tables covered in maps and manuscripts. It smelled like paper and leather and history. "This is yours now," Petronius said. "Everything in this house is yours. But I thought you might appreciate this room in particular." Olivia walked forward slowly, running her fingers along the spines of the books. "How did you know I like books? You work in a bookstore. You have a degree in literature that you never finished because you had Cecily and could not afford to continue. You read to her every night before bed." Petronius watched her from the doorway. "I told you. I know everything I need to know." "That's a little creepy," Olivia said, but there was no heat in it. "Perhaps, but I do not act without information. Your happiness and Cecily's safety are now my responsibility. I take that responsibility seriously." Olivia turned to look at him. "Why? Why what? Why did you really marry me? You said it was duty, but you could have just healed her and walked away. You didn't have to tie yourself to us like this." Petronius was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was softer than she had heard it before. "My nephew is young and reckless. He bit your daughter on a dare, a stupid game to prove his courage. He did not complete the turning because he was afraid of the consequences. He left her to die and said nothing." His hands curled into fists at his sides. "When I discovered what he had done, I wanted to kill him. I still want to kill him. But killing him would not save Cecily. Marrying you would. So I made the choice that would save her life and bind her to my protection so that no one could ever harm her again." "And me?" Olivia asked quietly. "What about me? You offered me your life. You stood between me and your daughter despite your terror and offered me everything you had to save her." Petronius's eyes met hers. "You are brave and fierce, and you love her more than your own life. I could not let you die for my nephew's mistake. So I bound you to me instead, and now you are my responsibility and my queen, and I will protect you for as long as I exist. That is why." Olivia's throat was tight. "I don't know what to say to that. You do not need to say anything. I do not require your gratitude or your affection. I require only that you trust me to keep you safe." "I do," Olivia said, and realized it was true. "I don't know why, but I do." Petronius inclined his head. "That is enough." The court gathering was held the next evening in the great hall downstairs. Olivia dressed in a gown that Helena had provided, deep blue silk that fit her perfectly and made her feel like she was playing dress-up. Cecily wore a smaller version in lavender, her hair brushed until it shone. "You look like a princess," Olivia told her. "You look like a queen," Cecily said seriously. Petronius was waiting for them at the bottom of the stairs. He was dressed in black again, severe and formal, his white hair loose around his shoulders. He looked at Olivia for a long moment, then offered her his arm. "Are you ready?" "No," Olivia admitted. "Good. Neither are they." He looked down at Cecily. "Stay close to your mother. Do not leave her side, do you understand?" "Yes," Cecily said. They walked into the great hall together. It was full of vampires, dozens of them, all dressed in formal clothes and all turning to stare as Petronius entered with Olivia on his arm and Cecily at her side. The room fell silent. Petronius led them to the front of the room where 2 chairs had been set on a raised dais. He sat in the larger one and gestured for Olivia to take the smaller. Cecily stood between them, her hand tight in Olivia's. "I have called you here to witness and acknowledge," Petronius said, his voice carrying through the hall. "This is Olivia Norwood, now Olivia Thorne, my wife and your queen by blood and law. The child is Cecily Norwood, daughter of my queen, and therefore kin to my house and under my protection. Any who threaten them threaten me. Any who harm them will answer to me. Is this understood?" There was a murmur of acknowledgement, but Olivia could feel the tension in the room thick and dangerous. A vampire stepped forward from the crowd. He was young-looking, with white blonde hair and cold eyes, and Olivia knew immediately who he was. Petronius's nephew, the one who had bitten Cecily. "Uncle," he said, his voice smooth and mocking, "I must object. You have married a human and elevated her above us all. Surely this is not in the best interest of the bloodline. Your objection is noted and dismissed, Lucian." Petronius's voice was flat. "You have no standing to question my choices. And the child?" Lucian's eyes shifted to Cecily. "She carries my bite. She is mine by sire right, you know the law." The room went very still. Olivia felt ice slide down her spine. Petronius stood slowly. When he spoke, his voice was soft and deadly. "You claim sire right over a failed turning you abandoned to die. You claim kinship with a child you tried to murder through your incompetence and cowardice. You stand before this court and demand what you have no right to demand." He descended from the dais, moving toward Lucian with predatory grace. "I should kill you where you stand." Lucien paled, but did not back down. "The law is the law, uncle. I bid her. She is my get. You cannot change that, even for your human wife." "Sire right applies only to completed turnings," a new voice said. An older vampire stepped forward, a woman with silver white hair and eyes like ancient ice. "The child is human. The turning failed. There is no sire bond to claim." "The seed remains," Lucien shot back. "She will turn eventually. That makes her mine." "She will choose whether to turn when she reaches majority," Petronius said coldly. "Until then she is human and under my protection, and even if she chooses to turn, she will do so as a member of my house, not yours. I have adopted her in blood and law. Your claim is void. You cannot adopt her. She is not turned. I can and I have. The marriage to her mother makes her my kin. The healing sealed the bond. She is mine, Lucien, not yours, and if you challenge me on this I will invoke trial by combat, and I will end you." Lucien stared at him. Olivia could see the calculation in his eyes, the weighing of options. Finally he bowed his head. "I withdraw my claim." "No." Petronius's voice cracked through the hall like a whip. "You do not get to withdraw. You invoked sire right before the court. The challenge has been made. We will settle this according to law." The silver-haired woman stepped forward again. "Petronius, think carefully. Trial by combat is a death sentence. He is your brother's son. He is a reckless fool who endangered a child and now seeks to exploit her for his own gain. My brother would be ashamed." Petronius did not take his eyes off Lucien. "The trial will be held tomorrow at moonrise. Prepare yourself. Nephew, you will need all your strength." He turned and walked back to the dais, taking Olivia's arm and pulling her to her feet. "We are leaving. The court is dismissed." They walked out of the hall together, Cecily pressed close to Olivia's side. No one spoke until they were back in Olivia's rooms and the door was closed behind them. "What just happened?" Olivia demanded. "What is trial by combat?" "A formal challenge. We will fight. One of us will die." Petronius said it calmly, like he was discussing the weather. "No." Olivia felt panic rising. "You can't. He's your nephew, your family." He endangered Cecily. "He tried to claim her as his property. He gave me no choice." "There's always a choice. Not in this." Petronius looked at her, and for the first time she saw something raw in his eyes. "He invoked sire right. Under the old laws, that gives him legal claim to her. The only way to break that claim is for me to defeat him in combat and strip him of his status. If I do not fight, he can take her. I will not allow that." Olivia's knees gave out. She sat down hard on the edge of the bed. "He can take her? Not while I live. Which is why I must fight. What if you lose?" "I will not lose, but what if you do?" Olivia's voice was shaking. "What happens to us?" Petronius crossed the room and knelt in front of her, bringing himself to her eye level. "I will not lose, Olivia. I have lived for 300 years. I am stronger and faster and more experienced than Lucien could ever hope to be. He is a child playing at power. I am a king. I will win and Cecily will be safe, and you will both remain under my protection. I swear it." "You can't promise that," Olivia whispered. "Yes, I can." He reached out and took her hand, his cold fingers wrapping around hers. "I have never broken a vow in my life. I do not intend to start now." Olivia looked into his pale eyes and saw absolute certainty. She did not know if she believed him, but she wanted to. She needed to. "Okay," she said finally. "Okay." Petronius stood. He looked at Cecily, who had been watching them with wide eyes. "Are you afraid, Cecily?" "A little," she admitted. "That is wise. Fear keeps you safe. But you do not need to fear for me. I will win tomorrow, and then no one will ever threaten you again." He inclined his head to them both. "Sleep well. I will see you tomorrow." He left. Olivia sat on the bed and tried to figure out how her life had gotten so completely out of control in the span of 3 days. "Mom?" Cecily climbed onto the bed beside her. "Is Petronius going to be okay?" "I hope so, baby. I think he will be. He seems really strong." "Yeah, he does." Olivia pulled Cecily close. "Come on. Let's get ready for bed." They went through the routine together, brushing teeth and changing into pajamas and climbing into the massive bed. Olivia read to Cecily from one of the books she had found in the library, a fairy tale about a princess and a dragon. Cecily fell asleep halfway through, her head on Olivia's shoulder. Olivia lay awake for a long time, staring at the ceiling and trying not to think about what tomorrow might bring. The trial was held in the courtyard behind the estate, under the open sky. Torches lined the space, casting flickering light over the assembled court. Olivia stood on a balcony overlooking the courtyard with Helena beside her. Cecily was back in their rooms with guards at the door, safe. Petronius stood in the center of the courtyard, dressed in black, his white hair pulled back. Lucien stood opposite him, dressed in dark red. They looked like opposites, ice and fire. The silver-haired woman stepped between them. "This is a trial by combat under the old laws. The challenge is sire right over the child Cecily Norwood. The combat will continue until one party yields or is destroyed. Are the terms understood?" "Yes," Petronius said. "Yes," Lucien echoed. "Then begin." Lucien moved first, fast as lightning, but Petronius was faster. They clashed in the center of the courtyard, a blur of motion too quick for Olivia's eyes to follow. She heard the impact of fists on flesh, saw blood spray dark across the stones. The fight was brutal and efficient. Lucien was fast, but Petronius was precise. Every strike Lucien threw was blocked or dodged. Every strike Petronius landed drew blood. It was not a fight between equals. It was a lesson in power. It lasted less than 5 minutes. Petronius caught Lucien by the throat and drove him to the ground, his hand closing like a vice. Lucien struggled, then went still. "Yield," Petronius said, his voice carrying across the courtyard. "I yield," Lucien gasped. Petronius released him and stepped back. He looked up at the silver-haired woman. "The challenge is answered. The claim is broken. Lucien of the Thorn line is stripped of sire right and reduced to the rank of unblooded. He is banished from this territory for a span of 100 years. If he returns before then, his life is forfeit." The woman inclined her head. "It is witnessed and acknowledged." Petronius turned and walked out of the courtyard without looking back. Olivia met him at the door to the house, her heart pounding. "Are you hurt?" she asked. "No." He looked down at his hands, which were covered in blood. "I need to clean up. Are you all right?" "I'm fine. I'm just glad it's over." Petronius looked at her for a long moment. "It is not over. There will be others who challenge my choice to marry you. There will be those who see Cecily as a weakness or a resource to exploit. This is only the beginning, then we'll handle it," Olivia said. "Together." Something shifted in Petronius's expression, something that might have been surprise or might have been something else. Together, he repeated quietly. He left to clean up. Olivia went back to check on Cecily, who was building a castle out of blocks in her room. Did Petronius win? She asked without looking up. Yes. Good, I told you he would. Olivia sat down on the floor beside her and helped build the castle. Her hands were shaking, but Cecily did not seem to notice. The days that followed settled into a strange new rhythm. Olivia learned the layout of the estate, met the staff, and tried to understand the rules of the world she had been pulled into. Petronius was patient and thorough, teaching her about bloodline politics and court hierarchy and the old laws that governed vampire society. Cecily adapted faster than Olivia expected. She explored the grounds with fearless curiosity, made friends with Helena, and asked Petronius 100 questions about being a vampire. He answered everyone with the same careful honesty he had shown in the hospital. Olivia found herself watching him more than she meant to. He was formal and reserved. But there was a gentleness in the way he spoke to Cecily, a careful attention that suggested he cared more than he wanted to show. He never touched Olivia unless necessary, never pushed for anything beyond the formal boundaries of their arrangement. But he was always there, a steady presence at the edge of her awareness. One evening, 3 weeks after the trial, Olivia found him in the library. He was sitting by the fire with a book in his lap, his white hair loose and gleaming in the firelight. "Can I ask you something?" she said from the doorway. He looked up. "Of course." She crossed the room and sat in the chair opposite him. "Why haven't you asked me to turn?" Petronius closed his book. "Because it is not my choice to make. But I'm your wife, your queen. Wouldn't it be easier if I was like you? Easier for whom? For you, for the court, for everyone." Petronius was quiet for a moment. Turnings is not something to be done for convenience or politics. It is a permanent change that alters everything you are. If you choose it, you must choose it because you want it, not because you think it will make my life easier. "But do you want me to?" Olivia pressed. "What I want is irrelevant." "That's not an answer." Petronius looked at her, his pale eyes steady. "What I want is for you to be happy. If turning would make you happy, then yes, I would want that. If remaining human would make you happy, then I want that instead. Your happiness is not irrelevant to me, Olivia. It matters more than you know." Olivia felt something tighten in her chest. "Why?" "Because you are my wife. Because you sacrificed everything to save your daughter. Because you have handled this impossible situation with grace and courage, and you deserve to live the life you choose, not the life I impose on you." He set his book aside. "You asked me once what you are to me. The answer is that you are my responsibility and my queen and the mother of my kin. But you are also becoming my friend, and I would not betray that friendship by pressuring you into a choice you are not ready to make." Olivia stared at him. "I don't know what to say to that." "Then say nothing. Simply know that the choice is yours, and I will support whatever you decide." She wanted to say something, but the words would not come. Instead, she reached out and took his hand. His skin was cold as always, but somehow it felt right. They sat like that for a long time, the fire crackling between them, and Olivia felt something shift inside her. Something that felt like the beginning of trust, or maybe something more. The court slowly began to accept Olivia's presence. It was not easy, and there were moments when she felt like an outsider in a world she did not understand. But Petronius was always there, a solid wall of support at her back. He taught her how to navigate the social hierarchies, how to read the subtle games of power and influence, how to hold her ground when challenged. Cecily thrived. She was bright and curious and utterly fearless, and the court did not know what to make of her. Olivia watched her daughter charm even the most skeptical vampires and felt a fierce pride. Months passed. Olivia quit her job at the bookstore because it was too difficult to maintain her human life while living in the vampire world. She missed it, but Petronius had given her access to his library, and she spent her days reading and learning and slowly building a life in this strange new world. She also spent more time with Petronius. They fell into a habit of meeting in the library after Cecily went to bed, talking about books and politics and the strange overlap between human and vampire society. He was easier to talk to than she had expected, thoughtful and wryly funny in a way that surprised her. One night, 6 months after the wedding, Olivia realized she was falling in love with him. It was a small moment, nothing dramatic. They were sitting by the fire, and Petronius was telling her about the history of the bloodlines, and she looked at him and thought, "I love you." It hit her like a revelation and a certainty all at once. She did not say anything. She was not sure he would want to hear it. Their marriage was a political arrangement, a means to an end. She did not know if he felt anything for her beyond duty and responsibility, but she noticed things. The way he looked at her when he thought she was not paying attention. The way he always made sure she had everything she needed. The way he spoke to Cecily with such careful gentleness. The way his hand lingered when he helped her out of the car or steadied her on the stairs. She wondered if maybe, just maybe, he felt something too. The revelation came a month later during a court gathering. A vampire from an allied bloodline made a comment about Olivia being a temporary inconvenience, until Petronius tired of his human phase. Petronius went very still, and then he said in a voice like winter ice, "My wife is not temporary, she is not an inconvenience. She is my queen, and she will remain my queen until the world ends or we are dust. If you cannot accept that, you are welcome to leave my territory and never return." The vampire left. The room was silent. Olivia looked at Petronius and saw something in his eyes that took her breath away. It was not duty or responsibility. It was something deeper, something that looked like the same thing she felt when she looked at him. Later that night, after Cecily was asleep, Olivia found him in the library again. He was standing by the window, looking out at the dark forest. "Thank you," she said quietly, "for what you said tonight. I meant every word, I know." Olivia crossed the room to stand beside him. "Can I ask you something? Always. Do you regret marrying me?" Petronius turned to look at her, surprise clear on his face. "No, never. Why would you think that? Because you didn't choose this. You married me because you had to save Cecily. I just wonder if you ever wish things had been different." Petronius was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "I married you because it was the only way to save Cecily's life, that is true. But if I regretted it, I would not have fought for you the way I have. I would not have defended you to the court. I would not spend every evening talking with you in this library, because it is the part of the day I look forward to most." He reached out and took her hand, his cold fingers gentle around hers. "I do not regret you, Olivia. I have not regretted you for a single moment." Olivia's heart was pounding. "I don't regret you either. I am glad." She took a breath. "I think I'm falling in love with you." Petronius went very still. "Olivia, you don't have to say anything. I know this wasn't part of the arrangement. I just needed you to know." She tried to pull her hand back, but he held on. "I have been in love with you since the night you put yourself between me and your daughter and offered me your life without hesitation," Petronius said quietly. "I have been in love with you every day since then, watching you adapt to this world, watching you be brave and strong and kind. I did not say anything because I did not want to pressure you. This marriage was my idea, my choice. I did not want you to feel obligated to return my feelings." Olivia stared at him. "You love me? Yes. For 6 months? Yes. And you didn't say anything?" "No." Olivia started to laugh, a sound that was half disbelief and half joy. "We're both idiots, perhaps." Petronius smiled, a real smile, and it transformed his face. "But we are idiots together." Olivia reached up and cupped his face in her hands. His skin was cold, but she did not care. "Can I kiss you?" "Please," Petronius said, and bent his head to meet her. The kiss was gentle and careful and perfect. Olivia felt like she was falling and flying all at once, and when they finally pulled apart, she was breathless. "I love you," she said again. "I love you," Petronius replied and kissed her again. They told Cecily the next morning over breakfast. She looked up from her pancakes and said, "Finally, I thought you two would never figure it out." Olivia blinked. "You knew? Everyone knew, Mom. You look at each other like you're the only people in the room." Petronius looked amused. "She is not wrong." Olivia threw a piece of pancake at him. He caught it without looking. The court noticed the shift in their relationship immediately. Olivia stopped being careful about touching Petronius in public, and he stopped maintaining the careful distance he had kept before. They were together, truly together, and it changed the dynamic of the court in subtle but important ways. The challenges stopped. The whispers faded. Olivia was no longer seen as a temporary human curiosity but as the king's chosen queen, and that carried weight. A year after the wedding, Petronius asked Olivia if she wanted to turn. Not because he needed her to, but because he wanted to spend eternity with her if she wanted the same. Olivia thought about it carefully. She talked to Cecily, who was 8 now, and old enough to understand what it would mean. Cecily said she thought it would be cool to have a mom who was a vampire, as long as Olivia promised to still read to her at bedtime. Olivia said yes. The turning was done carefully and with intention. Petronius explained every step, made sure she understood what she was choosing. The process was painful but not unbearable, and when Olivia woke 3 days later, the world was different. Everything was sharper, clearer. She could hear Cecily's heartbeat from 3 rooms away. She could smell the forest and the night air and the faint trace of blood beneath Petronius's skin. She was stronger and faster and more alive than she had ever been. Petronius was there when she woke, holding her hand. "How do you feel?" "Incredible," Olivia said, and kissed him. They adapted to their new life together. Cecily grew up surrounded by vampires and humanity both, learning to navigate between the two worlds with ease. Petronius was a devoted stepfather, teaching her about both her human heritage and the dormant seed she carried within her. When Cecily turned 18, she chose not to turn. She wanted to live a human life, to go to college and travel and experience the world as a mortal. Petronius and Olivia supported her choice without question, but they also made sure she knew that the choice would always be hers. that if she ever changed her mind they would be there. Cecily hugged them both and said she knew, and that she loved them, and that she was grateful every day for the family they had built together. Years passed. Cecily graduated college, fell in love, got married. She had children of her own, and Petronius and Olivia became grandparents in a way that delighted and baffled the court. On Cecily's 30th birthday, they held a celebration in the night garden behind the estate. It was a beautiful evening, warm and clear, with lanterns strung between the trees. Cecily's husband and children were there, along with friends from both the human and vampire worlds. Petronius stood with Olivia on the balcony watching the party below. Cecily was laughing at something her daughter had said, her face bright with joy. "We did well," Olivia said quietly. "You did well," Petronius did. "You are the one who sacrificed everything for her." "We both did." Olivia leaned against him, fitting perfectly into his side. "I offered my life. You gave me a new one. I think we're even." Petronius wrapped his arm around her, holding her close. "I love you, Olivia Thorne. I love you too, Petronius Thorne." They stood together and watched their daughter, their family, their life, and Olivia thought about the night she had walked into that hospital room and offered a stranger everything she had to save her child. She had not known then that she was offering herself a future, a love, a life more beautiful and strange and perfect than she could have imagined. But she knew it now, and she was grateful for every moment. Below them, Cecily looked up and waved. Olivia waved back, and Petronius inclined his head, and their daughter smiled and turned back to her family. The night was warm, the stars were bright, and Olivia was exactly where she was meant to be, with the man she loved, watching over the daughter they had saved together, surrounded by the family they had built from impossible choices and unwavering love. It was not the life she had planned, but it was the life she had chosen, and she would not change a single moment of it, not for anything in the world.